This is the last fitness model that we use to gauge and measure fitness.
Yep.
And this is the one that is the most scientific.
Yeah.
I think when I read this in the L1 manual, this is the one I was like, oh, I studied this in college because I took kinesiology my sophomore year or junior year or something like that, and we went through all of these, and so I was like, oh yeah, the ATP process and
remember that.
or the sliding filament theory, all those things started coming back, and I was like, oh, so you go through essentially. But before we get into it though, essentially this is the most scientific one, meaning that there's a lot more of that process to understanding this one. So we're going to try to keep it in as simplistic as possible.
Yeah.
But this is the final model that we'll discuss that we use to measure and gauge fitness. And it's the metabolic pathways, and there are 3 different metabolic pathways.
Yeah, and it's the most scientific on purpose because the Hopper model is very not scientific. But Glassman was a very scientific person. He wants everything that we do in CrossFit to be measurable, repeatable. He wants it to have rigor behind it so we can test it, and it's not only proven in theory but also in science. So the metabolic pathways, again, just like all the other ones, the overall goal of it is to be as well balanced across the 3 metabolic pathways as possible. And we would claim that the person that is the most well balanced across the 3 is going to be the fittest. So we'll kind of just briefly touch on each 3. I imagine most people don't give a shit about them.
In depth, yeah.
In depth. But it is good to know, because it does kind of shed light on why we do some workouts in some different time domains and what the adaptation is that your body is getting.
Yeah, I think that's the big takeaway from this model is to understand that these 3 pathways determine our fitness levels in specific time frames of things.
Yeah, that's what this means by metabolic pathway is how your body is deriving energy to perform a task at a given time domain and intensity.
Yeah.
Because they're what happens inside your body when you do different intensities and time domains is different. You're not using the same engine, we'll call it, when you do a 100-meter sprint versus a marathon.
Exactly.
So we can intentionally train these different things so that when a task in the real world comes up that requires short bursts of energy, we have that engine. Or when a task shows up in the real world that requires you to, go for a day or 2 hiking through things. I don't know. Zombies are coming at you, but slow.
Right.
You also have that engine built.
Yeah.
Because they don't just randomly appear, and they don't transfer very much when you're on the ends of the spectrum.
Yes. That's
what we'll kind of get into.
Yep. And what I like to tell people is essentially the metabolic pathways are broken into 3 categories. It's short, medium, long.
Yeah. That's
the easiest way to kind of think about it. And the sense and their essence. So looking at each of these, we'll start with that short one, the very first one, which is the anaerobic pathway, which is it? No, they call it the phosphagen in the model, right?
Yep.
The phosphocreatine one.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember this.
So that one is 100% effort or intensity or power, short duration, 10 seconds.
Yeah. This is your all-out max effort sprint. Go.
Yes.
Blow up in 10 seconds, you're dead.
Yeah,
kind of
10 seconds, max effort on the bike. And for really good runners, a 100-meter dash. For most of us, probably a 50-yard sprint. A 1-rep max lift. Something where it's high intense, high power output, very short.
Yeah, it's quick, short, high output.
Yes. This... the phosphocreatine pathway is the one that's going to be predominantly present when you're doing those efforts. The second one is the glycolytic pathway. That's the middle one. That's going to be about 70% intensity or effort or power output, and that one lasts for up to minutes. 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Exactly.
So if you want to look at the first one as a 50-yard dash, the next one might be a half mile, 800-meter run.
800-meter, yeah.
800-meter run. It's not a sprint. It's not a long endurance event. It's somewhere in the middle. That's going to be the glycolytic pathway. And then the oxidative or the aerobic pathway is going to be the low intensity, up to 40%, I think is what they say, for long duration. Many, many, many minutes, up to hours, up to days.
Yep.
So this could be your let's just, again, keeping it in running, this could be your marathon.
Mm-hmm.
And the person, this is what I think is really cool about it, especially when like a lot of people around here are runners or cyclists or whatever, they have that oxidative. It does not transfer over well to the other ones.
Right.
So if you have someone that is really, really good at long duration efforts, even if they have phenomenal times, like they can run a 6-minute mile for a marathon. You're like, dude, if they can run a 6-minute mile for a marathon, I bet they can sprint super fast. But they really can't, because they don't have that power output. Mm-hmm. That's got to be trained. And I remember watching a video that was a really cool way to put it. Like, again, if we're looking at who is the fittest, the one that trains in the middle most of the time can dabble out long when they need to, and can dabble in the short, high-intensity stuff when they need to. So if we have a 100-meter sprint, an 800-meter run, and then we'll call it like a 10K, not a marathon. And we have those 3 people that are specialists, and we test each of them on all 3. In the 100-meter dash, the 100-meter dash person's going to win. In the 10K event, the long-distance runner is going to win. But the guy in the middle is going to probably come in second in both of them. Mm-hmm. Whereas the 100-meter run is going to come in dead last in the long run, and the long runner is going to come in dead last in the sprint. So, again, statistically speaking, if you average that out, the person in the middle is the fitter of them. Mm-hmm. And that's why most CrossFit workouts are in that metabolic pathway when we do some high-intense, short-duration efforts and some long-duration efforts, but most of them are going to be in the middle because it bleeds over better than always staying on one end of the spectrum.
Yeah. And that's what's cool about it as like a model of fitness is, like you said, like this can now start to determine like you're like, it kind of goes back to that hopper model and everything we've talked about, right? You're only as fit as your weakest link. Because the goal with fitness is to be essentially all around or well-rounded. And if you're super good at long distance, but you're not good at sprinting, then you're not that fit because you're missing out on that ability to sprint short. Yeah, you're very Yeah. So, and this is how we can start to gauge and measure our fitness. It's our ability to do things for long durations, but also short durations, and also for that medium or the short or that middle duration of things, and be able to perform well-rounded in all 3 categories rather than being specialized as a sprinter. Because again, if we continue to look back at all the models of fitness that we've talked about, the what determines fitness is your work capacity across broad time modal domains, which just means your ability to work and do all things. Mm-hmm. And so, again, if we're using that definition and we look at this model, you're only as fit as your ability to perform in all 3 categories. And so that's where like now we start to see all connect. And that's why it's such a beautiful model, because again, it determines how fit you are. Because if you can sprint all day long, that's awesome. Yeah. But if I ask you, hey, I need you to run across town and go get groceries and back by tomorrow, and I'll pay you $1 million, you're probably not going to be able to do it.
Exactly.
So it's one of those things where that specificity kills fitness. Yeah. Right.
And it also comes into play, the mixed modality of it, as even if, let's just say like the aerobic person is a runner. They're really, really good at running. You bring them into the gym and have them do something that's low intense and longer duration, but you start throwing in kettlebell swings and box jumps and the rowing machine, they suck. They get gassed super quick, because when you're doing aerobic training specifically, if you only do it on certain things, running, and most of it's running or biking or swimming, you're going to be good at only those 3 things, and there's a lot less carryover than what people think. So you can watch someone that comes in and is really aerobically fit and can run a marathon, but then they come in and they have to do light kettlebell swings and burpees, and they get super gassed really fast. You're like, well, why'd that happen? Because they're training in a very specific modality, not only the time frame of like the pathway, but also a specific modality. That's why like we don't just train running short, running moderate, running fast, because that will make us good at running short, running moderate, running fast. But you start to throw in other implements and it just blows your system out of proportion. It's crazy that to think like, okay, I'm good. I'm really fit in this time domain. But now if you give me a different implement, a different task, a different thing to do with my body, your system's like, whoa, what are we doing here? And it jacks your heart rate up and it jacks your lung rate up and all that stuff. So it's not only about the time domain, it's also now like, that's why CrossFit's mixed modality, because we know that to be as well-rounded as possible, you have to be comfortable with different implements, different movements, different stuff, dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, body weight stuff. And there's no way to fake it, which is why CrossFit is so effective.
Yeah. And that's that also, like, that's why I love like prescribed weights. Like, I know there's a mixed relationship with them and love hate. But that's what I love about them, because like, even if you can't do the prescribed weight and you say you scale your weight, you still get such an effective workout. And then you start to have that reality like, man, people do this with 50, but they're only able to do that 50 because they've trained with that mixed modality in these 3 pathways, or in that specific pathway multiple times. They've built that ability to perform that time frame with those implements and with that weight. And so that's what's super cool, I think, as well, is that we start, like, even if you give someone a 10 pound and someone can do a 30 pound, that person with the 30 pound doesn't necessarily mean they're stronger, which it could be. Yeah. It could be a complete relationship with strength, but sometimes it's simply just your conditioning, your ability to perform in that like metabolic pathway 100%. With that kind of external load. And so that's where like the science and all the cool things and the methodology of CrossFit becomes super fascinating and fun, is because, you know, you can be super good with a barbell, but if you don't train with a dumbbell, you're more than likely going to be not so good with it. Even if you could take that same workout. That's what I love about it. It's like a 12-minute workout, 12-minute workout, and you can make the rep schemes the same. You can make the loading as close as you can, as you want to. The dumbbells can be even lighter if you really made it that way, right? But if you were to do the one workout and you're really good with the barbell, and you go do the other workout, the same exact workout with dumbbells, it could be a totally different result. And that's simply just because that idea that we changed up the implement and that modality, and so we have to make sure we're like interchanging these things and playing with and that's what's super cool. That's where all that variance comes into play, that we use these 3 pathways, but we also have to think about in each pathway how we're using implements and different options and movements, so our fitness is not just restricted by dumbbells or barbells or kettlebells or our body weight. So
because that's what we want, is we want the fitness that we get inside of the gym to translate to the real world outside of the gym. Like they call it GPP, general physical preparedness. We want to be as prepared for whatever life throws at us, and we don't freaking know what it's going to throw at us. We don't know if we are going to run out of gas tomorrow and have to push our car a mile. We don't know if we're going to have to fight someone or flee for our life or run downstairs in a burning building or lift up a heavy object off of something. Like, you don't know what it's going to be. And the more specific you train, the more holes you're going to have in the real world when something gets thrown at you.
The less your ability is.
The less you're going to be prepared. But the more just, I don't want to say random, but the more variance we can throw at you inside of the gym, the more prepared you're going to be for the random shit that happens out in the real world. Yeah. And that's the goal right there.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
That was about as unsciency as we can make a really sciencey thing.
I was saying, I think that's just the metabolic pathways super simplified, right? We could sit here and bore you with the idea of like the ATP process and how your body consumes energy, but ultimately it's just this idea that it's just 3 time domains that our body utilizes energy differently and supplies it in a specific way, and that we should be training specifically in that middle one for the most part, and then dabble in the longer duration, the short duration as well throughout our training in order to get that broad fitness that we want.
Exactly.
So yeah,
that's it.
All right. Well,
we'll have to come up with our next topic, because we hammered out all the modes of fitness.
Modals.
Modals.
Modal
domains.
Modal domains. www.com. Yeah, that's the 4th and final now you got me saying domain. Gosh,
model of fitness.
That is the 4th and final model of fitness. So we'll have another topic that we'll kind of dive into in the following episodes. But for now, leave a like and subscribe for more to come in the future.
Peace.